Oh, so far away Lucas, who feels like he's close due to the wonders of technology. What are we talking about today?
Some hair?
Yes, a character with lots of it. Final Fantasy VII is a video game about a crystal-powered mercenary teaming up with a ragtag bunch of eco-terrorists to take out a silver-haired super soldier intent on destroying the entire world. A character that was almost very close to being revealed as having a connection to a member of your own party because of their hairstyle. And far away Lucas, the Final Fantasy series is one known for some extravagant balls-to-the-walls hairstyles and clothing choices, yes?
The phrase full anime applies quite well.
Yes, and on one end you have characters with, I'd say, quite realistic hairstyles like Lightning. Lightning probably has the most realistic protagonist hairstyle of a Final Fantasy game, I feel.
Tidus, however you want to pronounce it. It's got relatively realistic hair.
He has like the short, shaggy, spiky hair, doesn't he? But like,
Yeah.
when you go back to the era of Cloud and Sephiroth, you are just looking at just these massive polygons. And Lucas, you are a person known for having quite an extravagant hairstyle yourself. What unrealistic anime hairstyle would you want in real life? And I think I know the answer to this.
More realistically, probably just like, Super Saiyan hair or something, but Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, like how does that man have 3 different hair colours in his hair?
I want to know what that looks like from a non-two-dimensional perspective.
Yeah, it's like when you play 3D Simpsons games and you see Lisa Simpson's head and it just looks cursed.
Yeah.
Because it's like she looks like she's got a pointy skull. Anyway, the character we're talking about specifically today is that of Sephiroth. And Lucas, would you want to describe Sephiroth to the folks at home?
That tall, slender, absolute super soldier with the long, long silver hair.
Yeah, he is arguably one of the most fuckable antagonists in a video game.
He's like all about that length. None of the girth, all the length.
Sephiroth's all about length, Cloud's all about girth, and that's when you break it down what their battle is all about. But like the push that Sephiroth has gotten is so great that he's even invaded other universes to continue fighting Cloud.
I was gonna say he's even invaded Super Smash Bros. To hunt down Cloud again.
To continue that like antagonistic battle between them, and that might have been the hypest reveal trailer for a Smash Bros. Character.
Just murdering Mario.
Not even when he murders Mario, it's when he cuts the final boss in half. Because I'll be honest, for one split second, I thought it was going to be Virgil. For 1 second, I thought, is it the Alpha and the Omega? Is he here? But bringing it back to the character of Sephiroth, I've discussed before on the Fact Theme website, but not on the channel yet, but Sephiroth is a character literally defined by his hairstyle, to the point where there is several pages of in-universe lore explaining how he got that haircut. Are you familiar with this at all, Lucas?
No, I'm not.
The long and short of it is that Sephiroth is a soldier, which in the Final Fantasy VII universe is a super soldier program where people are imbued with Mako energy to turn them into beyond human. And Sephiroth is seen as being the finest example of the soldier program, and as a result is very useful for propaganda purposes. And they talk about how there are Sephiroth merch that they sell.
Oh,
like they have posters and stuff like that. Like, Sephiroth is the literal poster boy of Shinra. That's the corporation, isn't it, if I remember it correctly?
It is, yes.
They talk about he's the poster boy of it, and Shinra comes to the realization that part of their established brand is so intrinsically linked to Sephiroth and how the public perceives him. They have an entire R&D division dedicated to making his hair look as smooth and shiny as possible. And according to actual Final Fantasy VII canon, Sephiroth used an entire bottle of shampoo and conditioner every time he washes his hair. But it gets a little bit deeper than that, Lucas, because the Shinra R&D department I mentioned earlier develop a special kind of shampoo that contains a multitude of layered scents so that Sephiroth's hair smells like a different scent every single day. Because he has to wash it once a week because it's so long, and they say that every time he runs his hands through his hair, you get a different scent because the special future shampoo they make for him just has layered scents that fade over time, so they smell different every time.
Holy shit, I want that shampoo.
I want that shampoo as well. But the idea, though, that it is established in universe canon for Final Fantasy VII that like a significant portion of Shinra's budget goes to Sephiroth's hair. But bring it back to video game hair, the golden coif of spiky hair present on Cloud Strive's head has gone on to become one of the most iconic in gaming. Like just that spiky barnet is just so iconic now. To the point where, like, every time they try and redesign Cloud, that's apparently a huge source of contention about how spiky do we make his hair? Because more modern technology allows them to render his hairstyle in ever more realistic fashion. But the old polygon look, there's just something so charming and iconic about it. But anyway, there's also some deeper thematic reasoning behind the hairstyles of both Cloud and Sephiroth. With Cloud's spiky, outlandish hairstyle said to represent his thorny personality, while Sephiroth's, like, slick back, just power metal mane is said to represent how cool, calm, and collected the character is. And that's just reading into it on a slightly deeper level, but you can see that when it's explained to you, can't you?
And I think that just goes about in their entire character design. Like, they're both meant to be dressed in kind of similar attire because they're both soldiers, but you can see a lot of their personality come through in their general design. Yeah,
it's like Cloud's is more rugged and practical, and obviously cobbled together by himself, which shows his resourceful nature, the fact he's a mercenary. And then Sephiroth is like just altogether more properly put together, highlighting his disdain for anything below perfection.
Yeah, he's got that just impeccable trench coat.
Yeah, which, spoilers for anyone at home, no, you can't pull it off. Is that one of like the most disheartening things you learn when you're like an edgy teenager? Of you'll never pull off a floor-length duster ever.
It's the most depressing thing ever, isn't it?
It's like you're never going to be Dante, you're never going to be Sephiroth, you're never going to be Neo.
They're so cool, Carl.
And do you know why, folks at home? The secret is all of those clothes are tailored and they cost a fucking fortune.
So we've talked a lot about hair, but what about hair that makes people related to one another? What's that about?
Well, early on in development, the idea behind the character of Sephiroth was quite different. It was conceptualized that he would be related to Aerith Gainsborough. And Lucas, where do you fall on this? Is it Aerith or is it Eris?
I don't know where Eris comes from. I've only ever heard like Aerith, and I don't know where the Eris is in it.
I want to say it was like a localization or something like that, but yeah, it's Aerith. It's really easy though, just the word Earth's right in there. And almost every single one of her limit breaks involves the Earth in some way.
And as well, the entire story is around like Mako and destroying the planet and then being eco-terrorists.
Hell, goddamn, yes. And can we just take a moment though to talk about Cherith?
Cherith?
Where she hits that guy in the head with the chair.
Wait!
And that became like a thing where people started just doing fan art of Aerith with the steel chair. And it's like the idea that like the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to be Aerith coming in with the steel chair as Steve Austin's music plays. Anyway, Lucas, you have the original article in front of you now.
Yeah, I'm just at the top of it.
Yeah, so we just scroll down now and just look at the picture of Aerith and Sephiroth side by side. And on its own, you'll see the same things behind us. And just tell me what you notice.
Oh, yeah, the hair quiff. I always wondered about that.
Yeah, Sephiroth and Aerith essentially have the exact same haircut, just in a different colour. And I believe Aerith has hers in like a braid of some kind, but there's very obviously like some shared ideas between those two characters' design, Jess.
Yeah, those fringes are very, very purposeful.
Yeah, they're very exaggerated, and even on the character models, they look very, very similar. I believe the fringe for both characters was just the same, to save on like modelling stuff like that. And the idea was that Aerith and Sephiroth will be revealed in an early draft of the game to be brother and sister. That was going to be the idea, and it's that old trope that's present in so much media of show people are related by giving them the same haircut. And that might be one of my least favourite tropes in media, because once I noticed it was a thing, it started to piss me off. And you can see an example of that in a favourite show of mine, Prison Break, where Wentworth Miller and Dominic Purcell have shaved heads the entire time to show that they're brothers.
Something I mentioned earlier, like Dragon Ball, where like the Vegeta haircut goes through the family line.
Yeah, like, in Dragon Ball, it's even more ridiculous than that, because they have the same face as well.
Yeah.
Like,
true.
Goku looks exactly like his dad.
Mm-hmm.
And then Goten looks exactly like Goku, but Gohan doesn't. And you can even see the similarities in their names, Aerith, Sephiroth.
Mm-hmm.
There's a very similar mouthfeel to the pronunciation of both their names. However, that was changed early on in development, and they had the idea to instead make them lovers, which makes the whole idea of them being initially started to be related kind of weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's got some Star Wars vibes going on.
Do you know what? In the article, Lucas, scroll down again.
Oh, right.
I made the joke, that's called a reverse Lucas. Not Lucas who's far away, but George Lucas. And that's one of my favourite just trump cards for any time any Star Wars one's like, George Lucas planned that from the start. It's like, so why do Luke and Leia fucking bone? Like they are, like, and you can even see it. They're like, that's not a kiss that a brother gives his sister.
No, that's not.
So earlier on in development, they were going to be quite literally related. Then the idea was like maybe make them related in a more abstract sense, and that they were former lovers. And that idea was eventually scrapped in favour of saying that Aerith had a relationship with Zack Fair. So she had a stronger connection to Cloud and not Sephiroth. And it turns out Sephiroth has no real connection to Aerith, save for the connection he has through Cloud.
That makes it more boring, doesn't it?
Just a little bit. But it would have been a little bit cliche, I feel. If it's like, oh no, the main characters are actually related. Because, like, Lucas, we just mentioned Star Wars. Is there anything fucking lamer than you're actually related to the final big bad?
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the lamest reveals ever, and I'm kind of happy that the writing team Final Fantasy VII decided to do something different and say, no, they don't have any sort of relation. It's like the relation between Cloud and Sephiroth, and then he kills Aerith just to be a dick.
Yeah, but I would have kind of liked it if it was just him getting back at Zex at the same time.
just makes Sephiroth out even more salty than he actually is. An even pettier bitch.
If Sephiroth had to pay for his own shampoo and conditioner, would he go through a bottle at a time?
No, he wouldn't now.
It's like that moment when you move out and you realise, oh, I've got to pay for my own heating now. Like, oh, I'm not using that anymore.
Yeah, well, that's happened to me with like shampoo and stuff, where like, when you first move out and become a student, I think it happens with a lot of people. It's just, you know what, those Lynx body sets are fine.
Yeah.
And then after a while, you realise, no, it's not, because like you feel your hair and it feels like straw. And I remember the exact moment I decided I can't skimp on shampoo, and it's when I live with a friend of mine who's in a band, and he has, that Aussie stuff?
Oh yeah, I use
and he swore by that, and he always had just this immaculate power metal man mane. And one day I was going to the shower, I was like, fuck, I'll nick a bit of that, and I never went back. I can never go back. Like, my hair smells and feels too good. Do you have anything similar? Because people don't know Lucas is very well known in our friend group for dyeing his hair all the time. So you take especially good care of your hair, yes?
I do, yes.
So are there any secrets or tips you can impart on us lowly mortals?
Don't wash your hair. Don't wash it every single day, because, that'll kind of ruin your hair a little bit. It'll remove all those essential oils out of your hair.
And that's one of those pieces of advice a lot of people end up ignoring initially because it sounds so counterintuitive. To keep your hair looking its best, don't wash it every day. But as Lucas mentioned, hair contains a lot of essential oils that give it that natural sheen, and that's what shampoo is like trying to replace. Well, that oil will dissipate and be washed out over time, so you need to find a sweet spot, and that sweet spot is different for every person. It's one of those things where it's very difficult, and it's something you only learn really, not as an adult, but as an older adult. I learned a lot of like my self-care routine from stuff like Queer Eye, where it's like, well, all these guys are in their 40s and they look fantastic. What do? And say, just moisturise every day and wash your hair with expensive shampoo. It's fucking worth it. And then you're trying like, oh my God, it is.